all weekend. You got Tribe, you got all your buddies at Harvard. They're all up there. They're saying, no, this is legitimate. He's an insurrectionist, 14th Amendment. And now you've got Newsom moving to take him off the ballot. Where do we stand, sir?
Well, first of all, I predicted that in my book, Trump. I have a whole section on the complicity of the media and academia. And this was an obvious ploy. The Constitution simply doesn't permit this. There's no procedure. What Tribe says is it's self-enforcing. In other words, any Secretary of State, any governor who doesn't like a candidate can enforce it. For example, the governor of Texas could suddenly decide that Joe Biden is an insurrectionist because of his failure to control the borders, and he can disqualify Joe Biden. This will cause a constitutional crisis. Look, the framers of the Constitution took so much care to make it so difficult to impeach a sitting president, even if he has committed treason. You need 2/3 of the Senate to get rid of a president who's committed treason. Do you think the framers of the 14th Amendment would have simply allowed any Secretary of State without any process, without any procedure, to simply say, no, we think President Trump has engaged in insurrection, even though no court has ever found that, and therefore we're going to take him off our ballot and we're going to create a constitutional crisis? That is simply wrong. Professor Tribe does not know what he's talking about. And I guarantee you one thing, if the shoe were on the other foot, if this were an attempt to disqualify a Democrat, Professor Tribe would be writing exactly the opposite article and citing exactly the same sources, because you can always count on Tribe to twist, distort, and turn the Constitution to come out to make his political points. That's why we're different. I'm not smarter than Tribe. I'm just more honest. I look at the Constitution not through the eyes of partisan or political politics. As you know, I'm not myself a Trump supporter. I look at it through the eyes of history, the framers. He first looks at the result he wants, and then he manipulates and figures out how we can get at that result. And Judge Ludick has, although he's been a very, very conservative and cautious Republican, has just decided to join this on the other side, and the other two professors too. They're just dead wrong. You don't have a constitutional procedure for disqualifying a candidate without setting up procedures for how you do it. As Felix Frankfurter once said, the story of liberty is a story of procedures. And if you lack a procedure and you just say it's self-enforcing, any Secretary of State, any governor can deprive me of the right to vote against Donald Trump for the third time and deny you the right to vote for Donald Trump the third time. That's not what America is about. America is about an election. If you don't like Donald Trump, vote against him, campaign against him, contribute against him, but don't try to disqualify him and tens of millions of Americans who want to vote for him. That's un-American and unconstitutional.
I just want to go back to the, and I've only got a minute here, but I'll hold you through. When they came out with their initial analysis on the 14th Amendment, you said that was dead wrong. That was only about the Civil War. Can you give us a minute on that before we go to break?
Sure. The 14th Amendment is about the Civil War. It talks about not having to pay for emancipated slaves. It talks about not having to pay the debts of the Confederacy. And then it says people who have been involved in the revolt, which meant the Civil War. And you didn't need a procedure for that, because Confederates were proudly proclaiming their support for the Confederacy. So it was very obvious who fought against the United States. But if you try to project that now, 150, 60 years forward, you need a process, you need a procedure. And the 14th Amendment was designed only to make sure that those who fought in the Civil War against the Union could not run for office.